Welcome to another episode of Shutter Stories Uncensored. I'm Mark, your host, and we're still here at the Series Courier. My stories are still coming from that newspaper, my first newspaper I worked at, and I loved all the things I did behind the camera as well, processing film, making prints, all of that. I took the documented process and I expanded on it for times when I needed to get the film processed a little quicker. I worked out a process. Also worked out a process for pushing film, pushing the black and white film, because a lot of times I would shoot 3200 black and white film and expand it. I would push it 2 or 3 stops so I can get a better exposure for low light and the crappy lights that were out at a high school football stadium, and had to get the photo, so I had to find out a process to expand uh, to be able to do that and able to capture the shots that I was looking for. Um, so I used my dad, who was Marine, taught me adapt, overcome, improvise, and I really used that all the way into my photojournalism career. That was what my photojournalism career was based on, for all the unexpected incidents and what I needed to do to get the job done or capture the image I would do. All right, the first story I want to talk about, um, it was in the evening, probably around 6 or 7 p.m. A scanner call came out for a stabbing at the local Burger King in the city of Ceres, and I jumped in my car with my gear and headed down um, to that Burger King. And when I got there, the EMS was already there. The emergency services, ambulance, paramedics, fire department, local police, sheriff's department, everyone was there. And turns out what it was a 13-year-old boy stabbed a 15-year-old boy because he stole his girlfriend. Wow, what the hell, you know? When I was in high school and grade school, when we fought with these, the left and the right, and no weapons. Well, a lot of us carried, especially in high school, a lot of us carried buck knives or folding knives. They weren't weapons, they were tools. And in high school, I was in high school from 1975 until 1979 when I graduated. And there was a farming area, it was a rural area, and a lot of my classmates drove pickup trucks. They worked on a ranch or they worked on a farm. And a lot of my classmates in those pickups had rifle racks. And in a lot of those rifle racks were 22 rifles or 308 rifles. But they weren't a problem because they also were more of a tool. And nobody would go to their vehicle to get a weapon. Only time when you fought anyone in high school, anyone in grade school, you fought with your fists. And I don't know what happened to the world, but yeah. So that stabbing turned out to be 2 juveniles. One stabbed the other because he stole his girlfriend. That was so unreal to me. And oh God, that was just horrible. And the next story I want to talk about is a homicide. One of the first homicides I covered You know, the things I would cover are not for the weak-hearted, the fatal auto accidents and the stabbings and the shootings and the homicides. But there were a lot of good things I got to cover too, like I mentioned before, I got to cover the Weenie Mobile. I covered several vice presidents and a president and governors and assemblymen and congressmen and senators and mayors. And I'll cover ribbon cuttings for new businesses. There was a lot of cool stuff I got to cover. I love going to the fair. I love covering the Destruction Derby. I love covering some of the racing events like the four-wheelers and that. And I love covering the concerts and the music and the food and getting the cool shots of people just hanging out at the fair and having fun. I love covering all that. All right, probably chewed you guys' ear off long enough. Again, if you have any questions on my career, on photography, anything and everything, how I got into it, if you're looking to get into photojournalism, my Uber driver was telling me the other day, one of my Uber drivers, that her daughter was wanting to get into photography and wanted to go to a university and get a degree and in journalism. Yeah, her goal was to work for Nat Geo or National Geographic. That's a lofty goal, but if you keep getting better and hone your craft, there's no goal you can't get to. So if you have any questions like that, just leave them in the comments and I'll answer all your questions. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. And definitely hit the bell icon so you don't miss another episode when I post one. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a fan of the channel. And we'll see everyone next episode.